into cybersecurity, there's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald, Auger, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So glad that everybody can be able to join in. I see 125 of y'all beautiful people in today. And in case you don't know, my name is Eric Taylor. I am the CEO and Chief Forensic Operator here at Barricade Cyber Solutions. And it is my distinct honor and privilege to fill in for Dr. Gerald Auger today on episode 452 of today's Top Cyber News, where you, me, we got Emmanuel, we got Laura, we got Teresa, we got Jessica, we got George up there in Massachusetts. Hopefully the storm is going to pass by everybody in the Northeast and not cause any world damages up there. So I'm being told that you can barely hear me. Music is a bit loud. Let me turn music down. Thank you so much, Moz, for putting that in there. All right, so that's a quick audio check. So please let me know, how does that sound? I always got several different audios on my headset and everything like that. So hopefully that did. All right, so I am getting the blessings from Dr. Gerald Auger from himself in the mod chat. So again, thank you so much for joining. We do appreciate it. Please remember that every day that you join and you drop in, team live, team replay, team hybrid, put that notification in there so that way if you are required to have ongoing CPEs, aka continuing education or continuing education credit, and that is worth half a CPE, because this is a community. I can tell you firsthand experience, I am required to keep my CPEs going. So every year I submit over to GIAC, because we have SANS, and they accept this as well. So submit that over, if they have that line item, put it as a community, and I've never seen a problem with it yet. So definitely fill that out and keep your CPEs for your certification. With that, I do want to say thank you so much to the other stream sponsors. First off, we will start off with Panoptcy Security. Look at that very beautiful site. I know Brandon Poole is going to be recreating it. I have not had a chance to really look into it, but look, this is where you really want to be with Panoptcy Security when you are quote unquote left of boom. You are, looking at securing and fortifying your organization, but you're having a problem talking to the C-suite, saying, hey, if we spend X amount of dollars, this will help, secure us. And you're just getting a deer in the headlight look, right? And they're like, I don't see the justification doing a quantified risk assessment to help that C-suite, that owner, the CTO, things of that nature, understand exactly what that impact and that beneficial risk is for doing and or not doing would be potential, be able to get your goals for cybersecurity in your organization across that finish line. So, as you're going through, talk to Brandon Poole and the team over there at Panoptcy Security. See if a quantified risk assessment is good for you and your organization. I've had several chats with Brandon Poole myself. Very approachable fella. He's seems like a very straight shooter. Doesn't beat around the bush, and will set you straight. So definitely reach out to those folks over there, and again, see if it's good for you and your organization. Now, look, everybody's always trying to learn how to get into cybersecurity and know where to go. Yes, I mentioned a lot that we are SAN certified through GX platform, but that's a very expensive venture to go down. It's not a cheap thing to do. So thankfully, the other stream sponsor is Black Hills Information Security. They do have a whole arm of training called Antisyphon training, where you can pay what you can, right? It really is the honor system. They have a ton of courses. So literally, if you can only afford $10, you can only really afford to forego that extra cup of coffee to be able to get, SOC skills. If you want introduction to PCI, which is, if you don't know, credit card transaction, the PCI is the regulatory body, if you will, for securing credit card transactions. And anybody who's in the industry will tell you next to nobody follows it. I really wish more people would. If you're a pen tester and you're having trouble with reporting, I could tell you as a former pen tester, reporting was the biggest pain in the backside for me. I really wish this was a thing when I was doing pen testing. BB King, I've taken a couple of his classes. He's a really good individual. So a ton of knowledge, a wealth of information, and you can't go wrong with getting on board with some Antisyphon training. With that, we will get started with the podcast in just one moment here as we switch some things around. I do want to remind you, if you do have questions, definitely put it into the chat, but I do ask that everybody waits till the end and use the Q mark. I will stick around for some jaw jacking, and we will answer some questions. Mods have been very great about getting those screenshots. So if you are very urgent, want to make sure that want to get your question in early, the mods will do their best to try to capture that and put it in our illustrious mod chat. With that, I'm going to take a swig of coffee because I'm going to tell you right now, it is 8:10. I do know we started a few minutes early because when I was looking at these headlines and trying to get everything put together, I know that we're probably going to use and I'm going to get on the soapbox. So give me a second. I need another swig. What off the presses? I'm seeing some in the mod chat. I will grab that. It looks like our very own Jessica Bishop was on a podcast with the illustrious two cyber chicks earlier, and we're gonna divert just for a second. So I'm going to take this. Forgive me, everyone. This is worth it. I love me two cyber chicks. They are some, we all know Jack Scott. Most of y'all may have not heard of Erica McDuffie, but we definitely have our very own Jessica Bishop that was on there. So definitely tune into that. Check that out. Show them some support and love. With that, let's get started on the first one that I know we're going to get on my soapbox and go really, really goofy on.
And attempting to delete volume.
Let's get the audio turned up. And let's start this, ladies and gentlemen.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Friday, September 15th, 2023. Caesars and MGM both caught up in scattered spider's web. Bloomberg is reporting that a few weeks back, another Las Vegas giant, Caesars Entertainment, paid, quote, tens of millions of dollars to the group Scattered Spider, which this week has allegedly paralyzed the operations of MGM resorts. According to CrowdStrike, Scattered Spider is an affiliate of AlphaV and is also known as Octopus because it, quote, targets users of tech company Okta's identity and access management services, end quote. With Caesars, the group claims to have, quote, obtained access to an outside vendor before entering the company's network, end quote. A report from Trellix said,
Yeah, so this one is, that might be part of the same story. Let me see.
the Scattered Spider group is, quote, known to impersonate IT personnel, especially through LinkedIn, and uses social engineering to persuade company officials to run remote monitoring and other tools. From there, they exploit vulnerabilities and use tools like StoneStop to evade security software, end quote. According to the record, quote, members of the group
1 second. So yeah, I'm getting pinged, so just so everybody know, I mean, yeah, we got, thanks Mod so much. Yep, yeah, we have Fortinet here. It's kind of a mess back here. My apologies. We've been going through, there's no sensitive information. I do appreciate the love. Thank you so much for, pinging me and letting me know. I did that was one of the other things, because I do had some papers that I had to move out of view, but I'm also being told that there's more audio issues. Hooray! if it's not an audio issue for the Simply Cyber podcast, right? But anyway, so here we go. The soapbox that I'm going to jump on, ladies and gentlemen, is really this. Okay, so I dove into this a little bit, and you're going to unfortunately hear me say this a couple times, and I'm going to drop this in this link. So if you want some of the previous stuff, I essentially for Cliff Notes, the original post came out where MGM was compromised. Oh no! Although they were undergoing a cybersecurity incident, and it's as with anything that goes on in the news, whether political, non-political, whatever, tragic event, news stories are always very fast and loose, right? So you always got to take a deep breath and say, okay, let's wait for the story to clear before we really start making proper assessments, right? Some of the things that we are seeing now is, even since when I posted my video, right? The threat group of, what was it called again? What spider? Whatever. The threat group that's essentially was originally being blamed was Black Cat Alpha V ransomware group. Now, Black Cat Alpha V is very, very known for being very, very boastful about what they did and what they haven't done, or what they've done. If they had popped MGM, I made the claim, they would be all over their leak site, all over their documentation, all over their API, saying, hey, we did this, look at us, we're cool. And that helps them essentially get the ability to charge more for their ransomware cases, right? So it behooves them, if they actually did it, to make that statement and get them more and more street cred, if you will, as much as I hate that term. With that said, I came out and I called BS on it, because I think VX Underground did a very poor job. They did and a lot of news stories unfortunately started picking it up and started running with it as if it was gospel, right? And saying that VX Underground is breaking news, blah blah blah. And again, this is a lot of the fast and loose information that I always warn people about. Take it always with a grain of salt. So in the interim of what's been happening is, apparently, again, we're going to put a big freaking asterisk on all this stuff, because there's now even more conflicting information, and I'll do my best to break this thing down, but I'm sorry, I feel the need that we need to go through this so that way everybody understands what's going on. So give me some mercy and some grace as we go through this freaking train wreck. It is confirmed that Caesars was compromised. By who? We only are getting quote unquote inside sources. There's not an official release from Caesar. Even on the SEC or SEC site, I'm not seeing that formal notification. Hopefully by the end of the today or early next week, we'll get some more stuff because they are required, I believe, to file to the SEC, much like MGM has. That said, it's been claimed by many sources, but again, referring to people close to the situation, that it was the threat actor group, and it may have been the same one that compromised the MGM. With that said, how do I want to say this properly? All right, the threat group is still being tied or being blamed for it. At this moment, we are seeing no official publication from the threat actor taking claim and responsibility for this, right? A lot of times when you see things that are going on, you will see folks like Scatter Spider, like Hive, like Conti, when they were around, things of that nature, they would make that claim, right? So, Scattered Spider to date has not accepted responsibility for this situation. Now, as of I think last night, Alpha V has supposedly made a publication, and this is not part of the CISO series, so I'll drop this in the chat as well. So definitely take some time and read through it. I personally am still digesting this, so I don't want to speak out of place, but they have claimed, they're making many, many claims in here that they have been in their Okta secure environment, which, if those who don't know, is part of an MFA platform. Now, there is pure speculation, and I'm not going to show it on screen, but there is pure speculation, and a lot of people who agree with my thought. There was a potential breach of MGM back in 2017. On the breach forums, not the Onion sites, not the threat actor sites, one of those that post, breach data for sale. There was one that was posted about 2 weeks before MGM went through now another cybersecurity incident. Again, Alfie says that they didn't drop their payload. They were still in the environment. They were doing whatever they wanted to do, whatever. But there's a lot of stuff going on, but I do wonder if the leaked data from the breach forums, if MGM didn't update their passwords, whatever the case is. I can tell you a lot of times during DFIR cases when we are we're kept on retainer to do what we need to do on a long term to help ensure further breaches don't happen, or at least be that person, that firm, to come back in if something was to immediately happen. I will say about 80% of the time, once this dust settles, users will start using their old passwords again. So it's very much a possibility that this thing was several years old. Dust has settled, and they've gone back. Their users have gone back to get potentially, using weak passwords. So, there's a couple things at play here. I don't want to. I want people to be informed, right? So, thank you for letting me go through this very, very long-winded freaking topic. I know that there's at least one that'll go a little long-winded, not as long as this one, but hopefully that goes through and kind of educates everybody just a little bit. Again, we need to take some time, be patient. Let's let the dust settle and see what is going on, what actually happened, because there's a lot of moving parts on this one. All right. And the one thing that's also going on that you may or may not find funny, there's now actually reports as of yesterday, that because of the compromise, their hotel key cards are not working. So they've gone back to the traditional standard key. There's now reports that every key that they're giving out is actually a master key. So if you're in room 1234, your key opens every other hotel room in that hotel. So needless to say, MGM has got a major freaking issues over there, right? So it's I wish that MGM was putting out more content. They were having more more communications publicly, but anyway, I've gone way long than I ever intended on that. But again, I wanted to educate folks, know what's know what's going on, and but let's see where the dust settles, right? So, well, as a cybersecurity community, I'm sure we'll keep everybody informed, but trust but verify, ladies and gentlemen, please. On to the next one.
Copies. Although currently limited in its deployment and effectiveness, its recent use by a Lockbit affiliate indicates that it might be a potential threat in the future. Business owners and executives are urged to remain vigilant and enhance their security measures to protect against this emerging threat.
To evade security.
What is going on? All right, so a couple things I want to talk about. Again, this podcast is kind of like my my brutally honest.
Claiming their original goal was to attack.
Yay, audio issues all over the place. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Social engineering to persuade company officials to run remote monitoring and other tools. From there, they exploit vulnerabilities and use tools like StoneStop to evade security software, end quote. According to the record, quote, members of the group spoke to the Financial Times and returned to their tried and true methods of attack, eventually encrypting
all right, we'll get this thing caught up.
Systems, end quote. Cybersecurity incident impacts Canada's
There we go. Back on track, ladies and gentlemen.
Pelmorex, the parent company of Canada's The Weather Network and its French language equivalent, Meteo Media, says the cybersecurity incident that paralyzed some of its data systems this week was connected to third-party software. Investigations are continuing. Its Alert Ready app, which delivers amber alerts, forest fire warnings, and weather-related warnings, was not impacted by this event.
Oh, that's good. At least there's some sunshine in the out there for everybody in Canada. At least you will get, again with the storms, the remaining of the hurricane that's coming up the east coast there for the Northeast. Hopefully that doesn't impact them as well. But yeah, another third party security breach. When's the last time you questioned your third party on their security aspects? I can almost guarantee you, if you're not questioning your third parties, you're not under at least the CIS framework, because even CIS version 8 makes you put together a security questionnaire for your vendors. So I'll move on because again, I know we're running long, and the next one is maybe run just a few minutes long as well.
Blocked a Lockbit affiliate deploys 3 a.m. instead. The semantic threat hunter team at Broadcom has described an attack on an unnamed victim in which a Lockbit affiliate deployed several Cobalt Strike components on an individual's computer, and then, after conducting some reconnaissance for lateral movement opportunities, sought to deploy Lockbit ransomware, which was successfully blocked. They then successfully deployed 3 a.m. Symantec states this is not the first time they have seen ransomware affiliates deploying 2 ransomware families in an attack, and they suggest this, quote, may indicate that affiliates are becoming more independent from ransomware operators.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, mods. I'm asking to be turned up the audio just a little bit, so I'll get that taken care of. Again, follow my links before. This is kind of what queued up and what caused the whole audio issue. But if you go to ours, I talk about the 3 a.m. ransomware. I'm not going to throw the link in there, to search for. But basically, things that folks need to understand, that the threat actor is, for a lot of these organizations, they are what's called a ransomware as a service. They are a quote unquote dubbed, subcontractor, if you will, where they will be partners of multiple different organizations and threat actor groups. So when they typically go in and, they compromise a network, it's not actually Lockbit that's compromising you. It's one of their quote unquote subcontractors, or what they call affiliates. And, apparently the person or persons that potentially compromise this organization was an affiliate of multiple threat actor groups, a new one called 3 a.m. The only reason they know it's called 3 a.m. one typically because of the ransomware note, but the files that was I'm not sure if this one actually shows it. It does not. But there, some of the original stories were, how you have like .jpeg, PDF, but it actually said .3 a.m. ransom or .3 a.m. locked or something like that. But in the file extension, it was clearly saying who the threat actor was. So, um, yeah, this is, kind of par for the course of what we see. So you've always got to, you got to be on your toes, ladies and gentlemen. In some of the articles I did on mine, there are some TTPs that are a little bit newer that you should look into and start putting into your threat detection model. One of them is called WPUT, WPUT. They got a Linux version of it. It's been around for a little while. I haven't seen it very much in the past year, but it looks like this particular TTP is starting to come back again, according to the report. So definitely look up that article and go with add those TTPs to it because it's worth noting. So with that, let's kick it into the mid roll, ladies and gentlemen.
And now, a word from our sponsor, Conveyor. The team at Lucid Software reduced the time spent answering customer security questionnaires by a whopping 91% with Conveyor's security questionnaire automation software powered by OpenAI. Compared to the tools on the market, Conveyor's AI auto-generates the most accurate answers to entire questionnaires so you can spend almost zero time on them. That's it. That's the ad. We'll let you get back to the headlines now, but if you want to take away the pain of questionnaires, try a free proof of concept at www.conveyor.com. That's CONVEYOR.com.
All right, thank you, CISO Series, for the ad read. Greatly appreciate it. Always check out the show sponsors. I mean, granted, we are one, but definitely check out Panoptcy, check out Antisyphon. Check out us if you're in the middle of it, you're looking for an IR retainer. I don't want to be too boastful. If you've been here, most of you are here for a while. You kind of know who we are and what we do. So I'll save everybody from that. One thing I do want to make mention that I did not in the intro as we get ready for the mid-roll. If you are a first timer, please say hashtag first time. If you're enjoying the saltiness and the complete ramblings of me on my soapbox, please share this content with everybody. I do see 231 of you still currently in here, so I greatly appreciate you listening to this and tolerating some of this stuff. But please share this with others. Please like it and talk about it with your internal community. And as we talk about internal community, I do definitely want to speak about the Simply Cyber Community Challenge and talk about why this is so darn important. So hashtag Simply Cyber Community Challenge is a way on LinkedIn for everybody to get together and find other people that are like-minded as you in the cybersecurity and wanting to be able to advance yourself. So connect with others that are in the same space. Look for this simple hashtag on LinkedIn and start connecting with the people who are posting and the people who are commenting. Build out your network, things of that nature. So with that, we did have Andrew Days that was the poster or did have the baton. Andrew, are you in, or Andre, my apologies, I butchered your name, but Andre Diaz, if you are in the chat, please say, hey, I'm here. And, please tag someone in the community to take on this baton and go with, be able to talk about their Simply Cyber community adventure, getting into this industry and being able to expand on some of their knowledge, right? So with that said, we will be around again for the jaw jacking scenarios, but I do want to try to get things caught up just a little bit, so we will proceed on. Mods, please keep an eye out for Andre Diaz to see if he is in the chat. Let me know if this individual is not, and I will do my best to pick somebody from the community to take the baton moving forward.
Professional sports has a cybersecurity problem. According to the UK-based National Cybersecurity Centre, quote, 70% of sports organizations experience at least one cyber attack per year, end quote, which they point out is more than double the rate of regular businesses. This is due largely to the digitalization of sports, which is accumulating large amounts of consumer data and is accessed by a wide variety of devices and networks. In addition, the article points out the often overlooked vulnerabilities in physical sports facilities, such as digital signboards with exposed ports, Wi-Fi hotspots, mobile apps and QR codes, point-of-sale technology, and the need for improved network segmentation between IT and OT systems, such as stadium access technology.
Oh my gosh. This is just the crutch of, the IoT infrastructure. So look, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 more times, right? If you have a profitable business, threat actors are going to come after you. If they think they can be able to make money off of whatever you're doing, it literally doesn't matter if you're running an Etsy shop, or you're running, the what is that one, dude? The Ballard Sports or whatever. But I mean, you got casinos, you got online gambling, you got all this stuff that is potentially making a profit. Cyber criminals are going to want some of that quote unquote free money, right? Podcast volume is still low. I'm hearing from the mods. I don't know how best. Please put in the chat. Mods are telling me that the volume is low. Is Kimberly? Is that from the audio or me? Because I literally have them both at 100. I can jack them up even more, but I don't want to blow people's ears out. So let me know in chat. Let me know what you think. But all right. So I'm getting some people saying they can hear me just fine. Jeffrey saying that their volume is all the way up. Okay, so we may have a streaming audio issue where some people are not hearing as clearly as others, is what it seems like from some of the stuff. Okay. All right, so the CISO series podcast. Okay. All right, I will jack that up a little bit more to 110. So, and I'll pause it for a moment, make sure I'm not blasting anybody's ears out. So more confirmations, it's the podcast, not me. Okay, good. So I'll jack that up a little bit more. Thank you so much. But yeah, this is, tried and true. If you're running a business, you're going to get compromised. They're going to come after you. It doesn't matter, right? So it's, it's really dumb to have Wi-Fi hotspots on your IoT devices. I understand the ability to, have a technician in the field. Let's say a football game, you got your billboard up there, your technician's at the 30-yard line and he's connecting to the billboard sign. It could be able to push firmware updates. And, I understand the ease for some of this stuff, but you're leaving things wide open for nefarious people, right? I always say, if man made it, man can break it. It's not perfect. So, you know, be careful, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got to say. This really should be business 101. Jenny, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Azure HD Insight flaws enabled data access and session hijacking.
All right, before I continue, as I promised, let it play for a second. Is the audio okay from the CISO series? I'm going to look at mod chat real quick because that's the quickest responses I can get. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything back yet. So I'm going to continue. Start screaming at me, ladies and gentlemen, if the audio is too loud, please.
8 cross-site scripting vulnerabilities have been revealed by Orca Security as threats to Azure HD Insight, which could be used to, quote, access data, hijack sessions, or deliver malicious payloads, end quote. These exist in Apache services including Hadoop and Spark, which work under Azure HD Insight. There are 5 CVE codes for these 8 flaws, and they are listed on the show notes to this episode. Orca has stated, quote, all 8 XSS vulnerabilities discovered in various platforms and components in Azure HD Insight primarily resulted from the lack of proper input sanitization.
Yes, I mean, this just goes back to, some of the discussions that we've been having this week, not around this particular topic, but, when you start looking at who your vendors are, and you're, like I mentioned before, going through, hey, Jess Bishop, thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. What? Did we become best friends? Yeah, we did. Sorry, I really need to get that sounder. For those, since I don't have that, we'll do, it actually kind of goes through this.
Ah, you gotta patch it.
There we go. You got to patch it. Azure, you need to patch it. But anyway, when you're putting your trust into a third party system, the you got to be able to trust that third party system like Azure, right? We were having the discussion even last night. There is some benefit to having an on-premise Exchange server. Now, wait, don't kill me. I know that's bad to say because Exchange on-premise is a horrible, horrible idea. But this is an exception, not this is an exception to the rule where some of our clients have very sensitive information that if it was to become under a warrant for seizure and for discovery, they want to know about it. A lot of times when you're with these cloud providers, you won't be notified by Microsoft, Google, whatever, that they had a warrant for seizure and they just handed over your data and you won't know for months or years until, whatever three-letter agency or law firm decides to, actually prosecute you for whatever they may or may not have potentially found inside of your data. So, and it's a balancing act, but 9 times out of 10, going with a cloud platform for a lot of these things is a very good idea for a business when you're seeing things like this come out. I can guarantee you 99.9% of the time, companies like Azure, aka Microsoft, they are taking the time to patch their cloud development before the patch is released for general consumption for the public to use in their local environment. Granted, this HD Insight is only an Azure AD thing. A lot of times when they have CVEs, the vendor does have a certain time frame to accept the accept the vulnerability and carefully work through that. So that's one thing that MITRE actually does. They do work with the reporter and the vendor, trying to get things done. So it is supposed to be a cohesive situation. A lot of times when you see these things that like, hey, emergency patch, put this thing out, sometimes the vendor just doesn't do what they're supposed to do. So a lot of times you get these workarounds and things of that nature because they didn't respond in time. But anyway, hopefully this doesn't really impact anybody, but definitely do your due diligence. See if you're using Azure Insights. Look up these CVEs that are in here on this story. In fact, I'll actually take this and drop this into the chat here. And look up those CVEs and see if you're impacted. Run your own internal test, do your verification that your HD Insight is potentially patched, and it is Friday, that you don't have to worry about this and lose sleep over it over the weekend, right? With that said, we'll move on.
The UK plans to consolidate NHS data. The UK's National Health Service is looking to create a centralized platform called the NHS England database. A 5-year contract worth £480 million is currently in a bid review process, with an announcement of the winner expected very soon. The frontrunner is the US firm Palantir, owned by tech billionaire Peter Thiel. In response to questions from The Guardian, Palantir emphasized that it is, quote, not in the business of mining data, nor do we sell or monetize it in any way. In addition, NHS England said that it, not the platform, will control the patient data inside, end quote.
Yeah, so they're trying to figure it out. So yeah, this kind of goes back to the last story. Hopefully they are doing their due diligence to make sure that the third party vendor is going to hold up their own security standards that they said, and you know it is what it is. So keep an eye on that since if it impacts you. Um, it's kind of whatever to me. I just see some people saying that they miss Jerry, so I'll just play this one more time.
Ah, you gotta patch it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That kind of goes right with the next story.
Kubernetes security flaws in Windows endpoints. 3 high-severity vulnerabilities in Kubernetes have been discovered by researchers at Akamai that, quote, can be exploited to gain remote code execution with system privileges on all Windows endpoints within a Kubernetes cluster, end quote. This can be triggered by applying a malicious YAML file on the cluster and impacts installations of Kubernetes both on-prem and with the Azure Kubernetes service. These carry CVSS ratings of 8.8, and the 3 CVE numbers for these vulnerabilities are 2023 3676, 3893, and 3955.
Yeah, so a lot of times when you get into this, I mean, so the CVSS score of 8.8, that's a pretty high impacting number, right? So that's pretty high up on there. So, you know, please,
Ah, you gotta patch it.
patch your crap. This looks like, again, this is a first brush of it, but this looks like it's maybe you got to have access to the container to begin with to invoke expression. Okay, so yeah, you've got to actually have access into the Kubernetes cluster to begin with, and then get escalated into the to have system privileges. So okay, um, so yeah, if they get this far, you're pretty much hosed anyway. But you definitely want to put more guards around the front gate, if you will, for this type of scenario. So definitely patch it. Get this thing done. And as always, like I always say, they make sure that you are doing your verification that the patches are actually, um, working the way that they're supposed to. And I think that's the last
Just
story.
a reminder to join us later today at
Yeah. Just a reminder. Join me, Eric Taylor, of Barricade Cyber Solutions. We will be talking about the executive cyber brief. So this is, just kind of a recap that we go through every once a week at the same time on Friday at 3:30 Eastern time every week, and just kind of talk about the top cybersecurity news is that I found important that I don't think has got a lot of coverage. So if that's something that's of interest to you, definitely go through and or sign up for, I guess, subscribe and know about that when we kind of come go live on everything. If you're just here for the news, thank you so much. I do greatly appreciate it. Again, please slap that like button. Please tell your friends and family about us, if you will, to help us spread the news. And I do greatly appreciate it. As promised, we do have the I do have the questions that we're going to answer. I do know some of the mods have started dropping off for their full-time jobs, so I do appreciate everybody sticking around. We do see that Asima. I'm not going to pronounce. If you've been here for a while, Phonics does not work for me at all. ASMA, Asima. Sorry. So I believe that individual has the baton now as an acceptant, is very eager. So what you simply do, just to recap, you go on LinkedIn, you talk about your story, much like Andre Diaz did. He put the Simply Cyber. Let me actually minimize my part here. You put the hashtag Simply Cyber Community Challenge, so we can follow you and we can read about your story. Andre went through and talked about how he got into it, and that's what a lot of people do. So you can also, thankfully you have today being Friday, you have the weekend to kind of see how other people did it. And if you're looking for inspiration of how to create yours, you got a little bit of time over the weekend, the rest of the today and over the weekend to actually do that. With that, I am going to steal, or no, In the military, we call this acquire. So I'm going to acquire this intro, and we will move into jaw jacking. Again, thank you so much to everybody who stuck around for the news. If you're sticking around for the jaw jacking, stand by 1 second. Welcome to jaw jacking. Hope everybody's had a great week so far. We will just stick around for a few. I will stick around just for a few minutes and just kind of talk about whatever you folks want to talk about. I do have a couple of things that are coming up that I got to take care of. Let me know if that is a little too loud, because audio issues seem to be rampant these days, right? So I'm going to kind of go through some of the mod chat here. So Ozma was first time today. Awesome. Maya 642 was first time. Now let me switch back over here to chat. Again, thanks so much for having me on here. I do greatly appreciate the privilege and the fortitude that the Simply Cyber community grants me to be the guest host, and for Dr. Gerald Auger for allowing me to do this. I greatly do appreciate it. On a side note, since we are jaw jacking, okay, thank you. I don't know if I have a calming and soothing voice by any means, but I appreciate that. Danny Drew, how do I get CPE credits? Like I said, by being here and posting things like this and doing at the intro, hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay, Team Hybrid, all the other things, that is, you just kind of do in a little notebook or whatever, or if you kind of know, hey, I was here every day for a month, and then you can just submit that, right? So again, when I do ours through, when I do mine through GX certifications, I put down community, and I put the Simply Cyber community, and that works just fine. So hopefully that answers your question. Yes, so Jax is asked, this is my first time watching. I love you. And do you have a channel? Yes, I do have our own channel. Literally, if you just go to, bring up a new tab here, and so the easiest way to get to us is just youtube.barricadecyber.com. This will forward it over to, hopefully, yep, it'll forward you over to the Barricade Simply Cyber. Again, just youtube.barricadecyber.com. I do have in there say, hey, do you want to confirm your subscription? So try to help push the subscription model. Sorry for the self-promotion on that one. Absolutely happy to have you here. Come on, Jess. Love you, Eric, in a cybersecurity friend way. Yeah. Okay. I'm just kidding. I love you too, girl. We always have some of the best conversations. You and I need to connect again some more. What are some of the places you can look on a computer that experience scareware? So I'm going to assume that when you say scareware, you're talking about those websites that will pop up and say, hey, you've got, all these things. That is simply just your internet history of the browser. Jazzy Jazz Let me know if you're talking about something other than web browser traffic, but I'm assuming you're talking about those websites that you accidentally type a letter wrong and you get those stupid pop-ups and, you know, a pain in the butt to get rid of, and you just want to jump out of a window. And just so you know, it happens to some of us too who type something in wrong sometimes. Yo, Funky Monk, I was going to mention this earlier. I really was, but I was like, yeah, I'm already running really, really long on this one, so I didn't want to bring that one up as well. It is very coincidental that DEF CON was literally there right around the same time that data from 2017 was posted on the breach forums. There's a lot of circumstantial stuff that is going on around that, and I don't know. So it's very interesting. I'm waiting to see how a lot of the dust settles to see what the true story. Hopefully we get some. Yeah, something this big, we are definitely starting to see a lot of people talk about it. So sure thing, John. There, take a screenshot of me saying hello and data and get those CPE credits. There you go. Hopefully that's assistance to you, John. Thanks for participating and sticking around. What's Eric's channel? I think are there Barricade Cyber shirts? No, there are not any Barricade Cyber t-shirts yet, Miss Pamela. We are working with a marketing team. It's literally going to say like threat actors suck with a barricade.cyber.com or something like that in the middle. We're trying to finalize the look on it, but I think that's the one that we're going to end up going with. So, awesome. Kimberly Fixit is still in here. So, no, Kimberly, I see. I just didn't know you were still over here. My apologies. I thought you had parted on to your other endeavors. So thanks. I'm over here looking at what Kimberly Fixit has captured, screenshotted, and put in our mod chat, so that way I kind of know what some of the questions are. What cloud security training certifications do you recommend for GRC analyst? The one and very own Dr. Gerald Auger. He's got his own training. Go to simplycyber.io, I believe the site is, off of memory. Yes. Hooray! My brain hasn't completely shut down yet. So yeah, right up here at the very top, you got courses, Master GRC. So go there, right? It's been, just ask any of the community members. Seriously, ask any of the community members who's taken a GRC. There's been a lot of people that's come into the chat and said, they took the GRC, and within a couple months they had landed that GRC course. So it's gaining a lot of traction. There's a lot of value in it. So what are some places that you look at on a so we answered that one. What do you think about the DEF CON? Okay, I answered that one. Sorry. Hi, Eric. Cybersecurity Awareness Month is weeks away. Any brilliant strategies or ideas to promote that are your organizations? That's a good question. Take a page from me. A lot of the times when we're being brought in on conversations, the one question I always ask: what is it about your network you don't know or you don't understand? Start seeking answers. The other thing I would say is, where is the data in the organization? Where is it? What touches it? And how does it flow through the organization? When you have a ransomware, you have a security incident, knowing where all the pieces and parts of the data live inside of your organization, so that way you could be able to, one, do forensic analysis quickly. You can start your recovery. You can get back at the business a lot quicker because you know where that data is, right? So definitely look at that, right? Eric, in your experience, have you seen a company with a correctly implemented zero trust solution get breached? Yes. Lyle, that was, they didn't get far. So it was, I'm probably still under attorney-client privilege, so I have to speak very carefully about it, but it was about 220 odd organizations somewhere in the globe. And it was a phishing email that ended up doing it, and they were able to do the email phishing aspect and funds, rerouting of funds and things of that nature. Read between the lines a little bit, and you gotta know what I'm talking about a little bit there. So yeah, zero trust is not a bulletproof solution. It helps minimize a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong, and it helps reduce the blast radius of an impact, but it's not a bulletproof solution. So what cloud provider do most companies with the correct solution get on what cloud providers do most companies that see your assistants use? Azure, AWS, GC? Yeah, Tom, that's a good question. We actually see people of all platforms. It really depends on what they're using it for. So, we see a lot of Azure for fully dedicated VMs and infrastructure. AWS and GCP are those container. You just want to run a Kubernetes container. You just want to run a Docker container, an SQL server without the full VM, the full OS infrastructure and everything like that. So it really depends, on what the actual goal of everything is, right? Holy cow, y'all keeping Kimberly Can Fix It busy, so y'all coming in with the questions. I love it. Will you be at Wild Hacking Fest? No, I will not, but connect with my counterpart Casually Joseph here. He will be at Wild Hacking Fest, and y'all can talk war stories over some beers or something like that. Jonathan Reed, any cybersecurity meetups around Pittsburgh? Not that I know of currently. Definitely check for local B-sides. Find out when your local B-sides is in that area. My disaster recovery instructor did an announcement for ISC2 training. Is it worth it? That's a question for you, Justin, sir. To be honest with you, is the field that you're the industries that you're working in, would they be beneficial, or would you get benefit out of being, trained in ISC2 squared? I don't know, right? So that's really an industry and a business decision. So. Nathan Bolton, do you and your team employ threat hunting teams prior to your incident response, such as do you have org send files and artifacts for review? Nathan Bolin, sorry. Yes, we do have threat hunting. I wouldn't say teams. We're a very small organization. We're under 5 people here. I mean, we're small, right? But we do get brought in for one-off incidences and things of that nature. But that is part of a lot of times into being brought in for our IR retainer. So, we're being brought in, deploying full EDR, deploying full logging solutions, and the whole things to try to get them properly monitored. And a lot of times the clients that are on our IR retainer, they will send us files and say hey, can you take a look at this file, and we think it may be malicious or something like that, and we'll spin it up in sandboxing and stuff like that. So What are your thoughts coming in from an unknown LinkedIn user? What are your thoughts on the Cisco Certified Support Technician Cybersecurity? And what is a good start for a beginner in cybersecurity? So it's kind of two different questions. So, unknown user in LinkedIn. Um, I would say for a good start, let's kick it back to the show sponsors, right? Um, in the middle, or actually in the beginning, the pay what you can. The just yeah, I want Dr. Gerald to get credits for sending this traffic, so definitely go down in the description. Look for the Antisyphon training. This, if you're looking to get in to cybersecurity, there's a lot of classes here for the pay what you can and some of the full-fledged courses. Go into that. If you're looking for specifically Cisco certified, that goes back to the ISC squared training that was asked by Justin. Are you going to be working for organizations that are a quote unquote Cisco shop? Like us, we are not a Cisco shop. I'm mostly, there's one other vendor we use, depending on the client, but we don't run Cisco. Sometimes we come across, we have to deal with Cisco in an IR situation. So sometimes having somebody with a CCSC or CCNA or something like that would be beneficial in those. But I was CCNA many years ago, so I can still muck through it pretty good. I wouldn't trust myself to do from the ground up right now in Cisco. I just don't work in it all the time. So, the organizations that you're going to be working at, would they benefit from it, right? So, and there's been a long train of thought that having a CCNA to be a network administrator is a good thing to have, right? So, there's a lot of things that are discussed in there. From Sean, looking to bring the cyber realm into Canada and promote. Now that I have done school, we do not have a big presence like you folks in the South. Feel free to give me suggestions. I would say Sean, I guess it depends on how comfortable you are at public speaking and just private speaking, even like this. I mean, it's either like, even for me, right? I do really like in public speaking engagements. The larger the room, the better I do for some reason. I don't know why. When I do live streams like this, I am much better at live streaming and just shooting off the hip or off the cuff, if you will, than trying to record something. It's just something I've learned over the years of doing this. I would always struggle doing and trying to come up with the right verbiage and stuff. And live, I'm just able to do it because I know kind of that pressure's there, and I work a little bit better under pressure. But you just got to find out what works out for you and start a podcast, and start talking about some of these things, right? And I would imagine. So here in the States, there is what's called oh gosh, what the heck is it called? I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry, but Chamber of Commerce. There it is. I knew it coming to me. So like a Chamber of Commerce, so like each town, you could register your business and you have meetups and stuff like that, like once or twice a month, and meet other business people and discuss possible business with each other, right? Does something like that have go on in Canada? Can you get part of that and host a couple of events and talk about those type of things, right? So we are after 9 o'clock. We are now 9:06 Eastern time. I will look at kind of scroll through a little bit. Yes, Emmanuel Dark, Toastmasters, exactly. That is, if you're not good at talking at all, I've heard really, really good things at Toastmasters. I've actually considered going through it myself to help educate or help elevate my speaking. And so it's been something I've been considering, but trying to find the time to do that. versus ranting on YouTube at 2 o'clock in the morning. Awesome. So I'll wait around just a moment for any last questions, and then I will bid everybody a awesome weekend. Oh, Kimberly can fix it. Dropping that knowledge. There is a Tech Toastmasters 2. It is virtual. So there we go. Hey, that actually may work out better. It's easier to, jump onto a Zoom team, Google Meet call for an hour in between other business activities than, getting into my vehicle, driving 30 or 45 minutes to somewhere, going through the routine, and then, driving back. You pretty much lose 2.5 hours for a 45-minute to an hour meeting. Tom McDonald, thank you so much, brother. I greatly appreciate the kind words. I do appreciate it very much. Again, if you're still sticking around, please do me a favor. I'm only seeing 100 and let me refresh my side. This has got to be more. Yeah, come on, people. 157 in here. Only 133 people have given a thumbs up on this. Please, on your way out, please give that thumbs up. Again, please share this content. You don't have to share me by any means, even though I would love you to join me in some of my rantings and my weekly podcast. But definitely go through and share this content and with people that you think would be beneficial, right? So I hope everybody does enjoy today's podcast. I do know I have some special sponsorship or special showings coming up, and those who have stuck around this long, what's about to happen next. We are now time for some Antisyphon Sea Shanty. Again, thank you so much, everybody. I greatly love all y'all. Please stay secure and always question everything in your environment. Until next time, take care of yourselves.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same. A criminal then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
You're still here? Get out of here. Go do something. Take care.